competing in tall buildings. The Prophet Muhammad said that the time would come when the Bedouin Arabs will be competing in constructing tall buildings. Now you see that the tallest building is in Dubai, and Saudi Arabia are planning to build an even taller building. Just a few hundred years ago, this seemed impossible, but now it has become a reality. This is not only a sign of the Day of Judgment, but also a prophecy made by Prophet Muhammad. Gold and drought in River Euphrates. This is one of the few signs that hasn't happened yet, including the part 1 and this part 2. So far the minor signs are either happened or happening, but this sign is yet to happen. Prophet said, "The hour won't come before the river Euphrates dries up and unveils mountain of gold." We can already see that the river has almost completely dried up, which was hard to believe few centuries ago. After it dries up, mountain of gold will be uncovered. The Prophet also warned that this discovery will lead to widespread conflict and fighting. Earthquakes will increase. The hour will not come until earthquakes will become more frequent. Every year we see more devastating and more frequent earthquakes around the world. This year, we had huge earthquakes in Japan and USA. Last year, we had huge casualties in Turkey, Syria, and Morocco. Every year, we are shaken by the news of devastating earthquakes around the world. Normalizing homosexuality. Homosexuality was seen as immoral and illegal throughout the history. Even in the USA, it was legalized in 2003, which was only 20 years ago. If you told your grandparents about this 50 years ago, they would have found it shocking. However, today in the West, it's you who is crazy if you don't support it. In the West, you will be called backwards or homophobic. You can even have problems with law if you openly criticize the LGBTQ community. It has become so normalized that people now openly take pride in their homosexuality and act upon it publicly. Increase in gambling and betting. Before the internet, gambling was way smaller and betting industries were almost non-existent. The only way for you to gamble was casinos, slot machines, or street gambling. Now gambling and betting is multi-trillion industry. The society glamorizes gambling with ads, flashy campaigns, and now even streamers promote it, making it seem fun and harmless. But deep down, it's ruining people's lives. People become addicted to it and chase a win that rarely comes, which in some cases result in losing cars, houses, or even their lives in the process. This is not only a serious sin, but also a sign of the Day of Judgment, spread of false testimonies. Prophet said that the hour won't come until false testimony becomes widespread and true testimony concealed. In our era, false testimonies are common in courts, politics, and personal disputes. You can see how many women falsely accuse men in order to drain money from them. You see how politicians lie in court, lying for personal gain, power, or to harm others. It has become widespread, clearly fulfilling this prophecy. People abandoning the Sunnah. In today's world, many people abandon the practices of the Prophet, replacing them with cultural traditions or modern ideologies. Some people leave Sunnah prayers because it's not fard, they leave Sunnah fasting because it's not fard, or people leave Sunnah out of their ignorance or laziness. People don't learn enough of the Sunnah of the Prophet, so they don't even know about them. This deviation from the Sunnah is a minor sign of the Day of Judgment. Excessive adornment of mosques. The Prophet said, "The hour will not come until people boast about the beauty of their mosques." Nowadays, you see how once simple mosques are being over-decorated. Some mosques are now built more as symbols of pride than as houses of worship. Don't get it wrong, mosque being beautiful is a good thing, but when the beauty of the mosque is more of a priority than the worship happening inside, it feels wrong. From different perspectives, this might not seem as a bad thing, but it is certainly a sign of the Day of Judgment. Emergence of false prophets. The Prophet warned, "The hour will not come until nearly 30 liars appear, each claiming to be a prophet." Throughout the history, we had many cases where liars claimed to be prophets, while only seeking power, money, or other reasons. To this day, we have people claiming to be prophets or someone else who they are not. The final false prophet will be Dajjal, but that is a major sign. Worshipping for show. A person could be worshipping Allah every day, praying every day, fasting extra days, doing charity, and make everything else perfectly. But if his intentions aren't for Allah, but rather for show, so other people can see how great he is. This is a serious problem. In today's society, many people perform acts of worship to gain social recognition rather than to please Allah. The Prophet said, "The worst of people is one who shows off in worship, seeking to impress others." Rushing prayers. One of the signs of the hour is that the Salah will not be prayed properly, for example by rushing your prayer, not concentrating on your prayer or delaying your prayer. All this might not only invalidate your prayer, but it's also a sign of the day of judgment. Loss of honesty in trade. The Prophet said, "The hour will not come until people cheat in trade, and honesty is no longer found among them." You can see this happen in almost everywhere. Rich people use pyramid or Ponzi schemes to enrich themselves at the expense of the poor. When you go to foreign market, they lie to you about the price because they see you're a tourist. Sellers lie so they could sell their product easier. Buyers lie so they could buy the product cheaper. There is no honesty left in trading. Extreme heat. You've probably heard about global warming and that the average temperature is rising year after year. The Prophet said, "The hour will not come until the weather becomes extremely harsh and intolerable," which would mean that each year we get closer to the day of judgment. Every summer, wildfires rage across the globe, and temperatures in some regions rise up to 50 degrees Celsius. Because of the global warming, every coming year we will face harsher and harsher weather conditions. Spread of diseases and pandemics. Recently, we had a global pandemic, which made many Muslims worried as many believed it to be a minor sign of the Day of Judgment. Right now, because of the global warming, the icebergs are melting. These icebergs contain ancient viruses and bacteria that are now being released. And because our immune system is not familiar with these diseases, so our bodies are very vulnerable to them. But this is not the only source of diseases we have. We have seen new dangerous diseases emerge very frequently. Moving mountains. The Messenger of Allah said, "The hour will not begin until the mountains are moved from their places." Before the technological advancement, the thought of this sign would have been viewed as something impossible. Today, modern machines and technology make it possible to move mountains in a remarkably short time. Now we have something called mountaintop removal, which is pretty self-explanatory. This was the part 1 of Minor Sign of the Day of Judgment in Islam. Make sure to watch the part 1 if you haven't already seen it. Thank you.